Can you believe it's Friday already? Hello, good morning. I once read a story about a girl who fell in love with a fisherman. She was so excited on the day he proposed to her, and she skipped all the way home to tell her parents. A fisherman? Her father bellowed with disgust. Are you out of your mind? In a town full of lawyers, doctors, engineers, and accountants, you want to insult your father by marrying a fisherman? Over my dead body. There's no way I'm going to have a useless fisherman for a son-in-law. The girl was heartbroken. She begged and pleaded and cried, but Daddy wouldn't budge. She took her fisherman sweetheart to meet her mother, but Mommy was even worse. After all the money we spent sending you to school, this is how you choose to repay us? Your sisters are all married to professors, priests, and politicians, but you dare to bring a fisherman into our home? What a disgrace. The young girl and her fisherman lover were both heartbroken. They couldn't imagine a life without each other. She begged him to run away with her, get married in some other town, and never talk to her parents again. But he convinced her not to. That would truly insult and disgrace your parents, he said. So instead, they broke up. Later that year, the rains came like never before. The whole town was flooded. Property was destroyed, lives were lost, and hundreds of people, including the girl's family, were stranded in their homes without food or water for days. Now guess who was the only one with a boat? That's right, the useless, disgraceful fisherman. He turned up at their house when they were most desperate, when their food had run out, and all the professors, priests, and politicians who had married their daughters were riddled with illness and in need of medication. He loaded them all into his boat and took them safely to the next town. When they got there, the girl's father grabbed the fisherman by the hand and said, "Thank you, my son." The fisherman smiled at him and said, "I'm still a fisherman, oh. Too useless and disgraceful to be your son, remember?" My dear friends, in our society, we believe that some people are more important than others. Let's not deny it. When a security guard walks into our place of work, we treat them differently from how we treat a CEO. That's because we assign a lower importance to the security guard. This is our nature, so let's not spend too much time disputing it simply because it doesn't sound like the Christian thing to do. We all do it. Is there really any one of us reading this message or hearing what I'm saying who doesn't consider themselves a better human being than, say, a prostitute or a homeless person? But how wrong we all are. If life should teach us anything, it's the fact that we all serve a unique purpose. The doctors are just as important as the drivers. The lawyers just as important as the laborers. And the politicians are definitely not more valuable than the people. We each have a unique purpose that no other person fulfills. And this is what equalizes us. Listen, the razor blade is sharp, but it can't cut a tree. The axe is sharp too, but it can't cut hair. We all have our functions in life, but if we remember that what we do is no more important than what others are called to do, perhaps we will finally start to build that enlightened society we all dream of. And for those of us who claim to be Christians while maltreating our house helps, abusing our drivers, and looking down on everyone else in between, perhaps we don't really aim to be Christ-like. Because as for Christ, that dude, he hung out with prostitutes all day long. Plus, his 12 best friends were all homeless guys. Oh, and a couple of them were fishermen too. My name is Kujo Youngson, and I may be sharp, but I can't cut what you cut. And for that, I respect you, whoever you may be. Good morning, Ghana.
Away from that, Vice President Mahamudu Bawumia is assuring that government will support the police administration to ensure a peaceful, transparent and credible elections. He urged retired police officers to preach peace before, during and after election 2020. Here is Interior Minister Ambrose Derry speaking on his behalf at the commissioning of a hotel and office complex built by retired police officers.
This year is an election year. And as the chair of the council, presiding over the police service that is tasked with maintaining law and order, government will support the police administration to ensure a peaceful, transparent, and credible election. We urge all retired officers who have varied experiences to also help us all preach peace before, during, and after election 2020.
Now, a 62-year-old businessman has been shot dead by unknown assailants at Aswade, close to Mankroso in the Ashanti region. Alhaji Abubakar Sadiq was gunned while performing oblation for the evening's prayer at his fuel station. Eyewitnesses say 2 of the 4 men fired indiscriminately whilst walking away from the crime scene. They made away with his 3 mobile phones and 300 CDs, which a fuel attendant at the station threw at them. Nanaya Ojima visited the scene and has come through with this report.
Behind me is the frontage of Alhaji's office, where he sat and performed ablution for the evening's prayers. Unfortunately, 2 men approached him and killed him instantly. They shot him twice, one in the head and the other in the neck. Eyewitnesses say 2 of the 4 assailants in nose mask attacked the man at the premises, while 2 others made their way to his home behind the fuel station. 2 of them had guns wrapped in knapsacks. Here is an eyewitness I choose to call Joe.
Idea, as my papa, some Alhaji can say, "Son of mom, the bad idea." And the young I be. I said, "Papa, who say?"
I started struggling with one of them after the gun went off in a knapsack. When he saw that go on, he also struggled with the other. The guy then overpowered him, pulled the gun but missed the target. I tried to fight that one instead, but I couldn't reach him in time. He shot Alhaji twice, and I attempted to flee, throwing the sail I had made at them. He then shot into my direction. I fell, giving the impression I had been shot.
Police have commenced investigations immediately. They are assuring residents perpetrators of the crime will be brought to book. Ahafo District Police Commander, Superintendent Richard Buahin, spoke to the media after visiting the scene for the 2nd time with investigators from the Regional Command, led by Deputy Regional Commander David Ajem.
I advised the filling station owners to install security cameras to aid us when something like this happens. But we will do our best to ensure we arrest perpetrators.
The Ahafo Southeast District, carved out of the Ahafo South, has only 6 policemen. District Chief Executive Joseph Ajimandapa explains measures adopted to deal with security challenges.
This side of the Kumasi-Accra Road records most of the robbery cases on this stretch. So we mounted checkpoints to help the situation. What we want is resident policemen to help those we have here.
Many on Thursday gathered here, where he was killed less than 24 hours after the incident, for his burial, according to Islam religion. Mr. Dapa joins others to eulogize the deceased.
Alhaji has helped the district in diverse ways. We have a letter addressed to him seeking support for upcoming Farmers' Day.
had a miniature say being soon power had that. What catching is saying, Uncle Pon catching and say, baby, be see me beyond Chamadi. Or Tunubotum say 200 city or them own kind. What didn't Sabe run Butum be scan or back kind of pepe.
For Joy News, Nana Aljima reporting.
And that's how we end the AM News. I'm Peter CBD. The AM show continues with Mama V and Benjamin. Enjoy.
Welcome to our review segment here on the AM show. Thanks to Mapito Sibidi for bringing us the AM news. Time for us to settle for the review. We'll do the papers. We'll touch base with some of the online portals, of course, with myjournline.com. And then after which we will do sports with Oreko and Poffo. So the papers are here. Ben is distributing. And he'll start with the
official
Times.
distributor.
I see that you like to start with the Times.
I do. I think in recent times it's because of some of the stories they've captured and which aroused my interest.
Their page 3 is famous for the crime stories.
And the middle pages too, you know, from 15, 16, 17, they capture quite a lot there. Okay. So let's just kickstart with the Ghanaian Times there. It says EC lodges complaint against disqualified presidential aspirants, CID ready to grill them over alleged forgery. You know, some of them were accused of that by the Electoral Commission. And indeed, some of these signatures were actually checked by the CID of the Ghana Police Service. And so they're going to be hauled before the CID. We'll bring you details of that. But government has undertaken 847 projects in the Greater Accra region in 4 years. That's according to the president. You know, there's this bit I always go back to, the Obameter, and how in the US during the time of Barack Obama, they were, you know, putting side by side what he had promised versus what he had said, Obamacare and the rest. I wish, you know, think tanks and maybe media organizations like Multimedia to take it up and match all of these. You have the Imanis stepping in and doing a few things, but sometimes, like this one, fact checking it to know that these 847 projects actually are extant and know what levels they've got to. I think it will bring about more accountability to the people like Steve Manteya would say. 20 million euros solid liquid waste plants for northern region begins. Court declares Adinkpa, family owners of Kokrobite, Langma and Tuba lands. You know, this reminds me of a lot of land law and, you know, the ownership structure when it comes to land in Ghana. On the back page, EU-funded agric project launched and President inaugurates new Metro TV Group edifice. Pretty nice.
Yep.
Pretty nice. So that's it with the Ghanaian Times newspaper.
All right, let's do the Daily Graphic then. Front page. Seek redress with law, not violence, says the Chief Justice. Government to review land acquisition committee. Government to review land acquisition committee. Now, the president says that the committee will start work next year. Also in the center spread of the paper, there's one more headline. Daily Graphic exhibit professionalism, fairness. Ashanti Regional Minister extols at launch of Spotlight. All right, on the back page of the paper, nurses, midwives sign MOU. That's a memorandum of understanding with CORE program. And CORE, CORE, is the COVID-19 Recovery and Resilience Program. As Amankesi Government Hospital gets a special ward, it's also another story on the back page of the Daily Graphic newspaper. Ben?
Let's check out what the Daily Dispatch is saying this morning. It says, Election 2020, the battle for Greater Accra will be tough for all. December 7 is a battle of ideas, not violence. Ahon Kalinsi saying that then regional minister cuts short for northern region solid and liquid treatment plant. You know something funny? I realized in recent times that sometimes people hear cut sword, and they think something is actually it's usually to break ground, and so you'd often see them using a shovel or something to.
And in an election year, you see a lot of.
Oh yeah, sod cutting. No?
Yeah. Who cuts this? Okay. Well.
You remember during the last election, we had the Commissioner General tag. That's we're commissioning, and now we have, I don't know, maybe sod cutting.
So this is the period where you see a lot of commissioning, but not necessarily because the projects are completed. Usually they say, oh, it's about maybe 70% complete, or the first phase is completed, and so we're commissioning. But it turns out usually that it becomes not operational necessarily. You see that after the election.
It becomes a white elephant. And I ask myself, what is a project that is 70% complete? You leave it, if it's not complete, it's not serving its purpose yet. So what's all this about? But anyway,
don't worry, one day we'll cut the sword that cuts the sword.
Ekufuado to Ghana Chiefs, we will look into land acquisition soon. That's it with the Daily Dispatch.
Okay, let's do the Republic Press, front page of the Republic Press newspaper. Martin Amidu wants Mahama to stay off his office. He's been writing, and basically his reaction is towards something that the former president said with regards to his office, and he cites the website where he spotted these stories, and he's written. You know, he likes to write, and he writes quite well. Except that I'm not sure if this is necessary. Everybody knows that the special prosecutor was set up based on a piece of legislation. And so if former President Mahama goes to say that, oh, I'll protect his office if I come into office, I'm not sure it needs a rebuttal like the way he's taken his time to write.
Have you read, the entirety of what he's been saying?
I couldn't finish it, though, because I thought, just the basis of it, I don't see it. Maybe you appreciate that more.
I think it's a double-edged sword there. In a way, I find it minutely relevant, but I find it by and large totally irrelevant. So I will explain. The first part being that legally, he points to, the article in the Constitution that says that you can't even touch my office.
That is obvious.
And that you are patronizing me if you act as though you were going to keep me in office when you don't really have the power, to do anything about it. But the other side, Martin Amidu, how long have you been in office? What prosecutions have you brought to bear? What have you done with regard to what the law says you should do in respect of your work? Practically nothing.
So accountability
much ado
at
about
this point,
nothing.
Not justification for the office, which we all know. There's a legislation. I think we've done enough education. Everybody knows it's a fixed term. And until that term, until you decide that you would go or you'd retire, nobody can touch you. And
it goes without saying.
I think some of the things
your status is like that of a judge, basically. So it goes without saying.
Sometimes it's petty politics, and I don't think that it needed that kind of attention. Well, by the way, it's the banner headline here in the paper. They've dedicated a whole page to it if you're interested. NDC Vice Chairman hot over allegations of weapons distribution. Well, not quite. If you look at the way things turned out yesterday, and again, we're back to the police. They do all the drama and take you to court, and then they say, oh, a new development in the matter, so let him go. That's what we saw with this case.
Is the police actually withdrawing the case?
Yes, they went to court.
Which is the interesting
They went to court, except that we don't know if they're going to come back. But what we do know with regards to this matter is the fact that there were two guns in the middle of it. He agrees that one of it is his in terms of the NDC vice chairman, but he says that the gun got missing some months ago. He duly reported it at the Cantonment police station. He says he's got proof of that. So, this is where we are. In the meantime, the person who reported him has been asked to step aside by the party, the NDC.
But before you proceed, there's an interesting aspect to it, because the gun and the expose, so to speak, by this person, it also, paints the picture of blackmail for what Senari has been saying. Because it's as though since he sacked the person from his employ, then the person subsequently went to do this. So I don't know whether he will pursue it, but at the tail end, if you listen to his rhetoric, there is
and
some...
And he's actually asking the police to investigate it.
Right.
Yeah, so we'll see if they will do that kind of investigation. There's another piece of headline here. Kevin Taylor mocks High Court Gabby with fake $1 million check. I didn't think this story would made it to a newspaper, but it has. And you would know that the High Court ruled that Kevin Taylor indeed made defamatory comments on this is the PDS saga, and so asked Kevin Taylor to pay $1 million. Okay, so he's presented this, and that's what you see on the, we'll bring it back on the front page of the paper. That's it, right down there. If you go up a bit, then they'll see the check. But this is not real. I mean, he's just making fun of the whole thing. I don't know where this will get.
Kelvin, what's on deal?
And then he says that, so he says, according to what they've written in the paper, he says that Gabi wasted his time and money on legal fees. And then apparently they served him. The writ of summons came through DHL. So he's also doubting the entire process. There's plenty more in the Republic Press that you can check out.
You know what that means, though? He is not in the jurisdiction, so to speak, now. When he does come into the jurisdiction, that's another matter altogether. Do you remember what happened to the Rwandan, the one after whom the movie Hotel Rwanda was made?
Oh, yeah, that was quite recent.
Once he got into the jurisdiction, Charlie, was another ballgame. So we can laugh now, but once a judge has issued that, when he gets into the jurisdiction, that's where you see the reality of the situation.
Well, I mean, I think he's looking at the validity of the entire process, and he's mocking at us, essentially.
Let's do the Finder newspaper now. What exactly have they found? NPP is the party for the masses. That's according to Dr. Bawumia. Teachers better off under Nana Addo. 23 critical interventions rolled out. That's according to the Education Minister. ADB receives ISO 27001 certification. And according to the MD, Dr. Kofi Mensah, that does a lot to elevate their security features. Then government calls on clergy to help address secessionists' misinformation. But I had to do this just as an additional headline. On page 12, business rebounds at some eateries. You know, on the back of COVID-19, a lot of them have been shut and all of that. So looks like life coming back to the food business. Next paper.
Oh, the Daily Guide newspaper. I was just looking at the news one in the center spread with some interesting entertainment stories. But let's first of all look at what's on the front page. Nana recounts achievements. We have done well for teachers. That's according to the Education Minister, Dr. Matthew Poku Prempre. Then drama in court over Senari Gans. They tell you how the police took him to court and then made a U-turn and told the court the suspect should be discharged. Amidu fires back at Mahama. Works begin on €20 million Northern Region waste plans. Now, the center spread. Bulldog alleges puppy of 5'5" visited Benin for juju. And the story says, at his manager, Lawrence Nanesia Mahan Singh, known in showbiz as Bulldog, is alleging his former artist, puppy of 5'5", has a history of going to Benin for black magic. According to him, during the early days of his music career, Papi usually visited Benin, which many Ghanaians believe is the hub of black magic, to seek help to woo women. He made the allegations on Mark Brown's Kitchen when he went to show his cooking prowess, essentially, and talked about his journey into showbiz as an artist manager. Well, if you know Bulldog, he says it, and for him to say this out loud on television, well, we'll see how this one will end, if there will be a rebuttal. He says, when you see him, this is quotes, I'm quoting, I was the one who was training Papi to rap before I left him on the streets for school. But by the time I finished, he had taken the rap to a different level. He went to Benin. I think that he went there for medicine, he claimed. When you see him, ask him. I said he went to Benin to collect medicine for girls. Ask him if I am lying. He told Nana Mama Brown. All right. Oh, and then sadly, Jamie Foxx is mourning the death of his sister. And he posted something on Monday that's been quoted in the paper. So that's all in the center spread of the paper.
The Ghanaian Observer has observed that Ghana chiefs are applauding.
The Ghanaian Observer has observed.
It has observed. You know, yesterday, the president and his interaction with the House of Chiefs and all of that, and some of the praises that they heaped on him. So interesting matters there. Some of the headlines here are captured in other papers, so I'm not going to go to them. But my own former lecturer and chief director for the Ministry of Parliamentary Affairs, Dr. Agri Dako, has disclosed that the combined efforts of the various security agencies cannot resolve a full-blown conflict in the country ahead of the December 7 polls. And he says our security agencies cannot contain generalized violence. So that's a story on page 8 of the Ghanaian Observer newspaper. There's also this one. Concerns about rising public debt legitimate. How many days ago was I speaking to Kweku Kwarteng, Deputy Finance Minister? Well, a story here, and he admits that our public debt is rising to unsustainable levels. Question is, what are we going to do about it? So that's it with the Ghanaian Observer.
Okay, let's do the Custodian newspaper. Front page says police chase NDC chairman over election guns. NPP has done more for teachers, according to Education Minister. Government to probe compulsory acquisition of GA lands. So this is the story also in the Daily Graphic about that committee that the president told the chiefs that he was going to set up next year.
I guess the final one I'll do, because all the other headlines I see here have been captured by other papers. The only one I'll do from the Ghanaian publisher is Ursula woos votes for NPP. I'm talking about the communications minister, and she urges members to avoid skirt and blouse. It'll be interesting, isn't it? Won't it, when we head for election 2020? We'll see how the skirt and blouse will go. And especially when an administration is in its second term or is attempting to get to its second term. We know definitely seats will be lost, though some will also be gained. But how exactly things will go is going to be interesting. Skirt and blouse. So we'll see how that goes.
All right, so let's dig into some of the papers proper. And on page 36, the Daily Graphic newspaper, court orders EC to register 443 disqualified people. And this happened in the Kutumbili electoral area in the Zabzugo districts of the northern region. And the 443 persons, including the assemblyman for the electoral area, were disqualified by the District Registration Review Committee during the voters' registration exercise after their registrations were challenged by some persons during the nationwide voter registration. They, however, went to court to challenge the decision, and the High Court, presided over by Justice Richard Koyapwa, ordered the appellant to be issued with voters' identification cards to enable them to vote in the upcoming elections. See, when you follow the process, you get to a peaceful end. Yeah, so I thought I'll share details of that with you. That's in the Daily Graphic newspaper. You can read on some more.
The Daily Dispatch. Now I'll go to the back page. It says, election 2020, the battle for Greater Accra will be tough for all. And so Benefson notes that as Ghanaians count down to the 2020 presidential and parliamentary elections, many Ghanaians have been wondering why so much attention has been given to the Greater Accra region. And he explains a bit of it. He says, it is a region that must be won by a political party to ensure that their candidate gets to the Jubilee House as president. And just a bit of analysis he shares here. Between the 2016 voter population figures and the 2020 provisional figures, the Greater Accra region has seen the greatest increase. Greater Accra had a 35.6% increase from 3 million plus votes in 2016 to 3,509,000 plus voters in 2020. The Ashanti region, mind you, had an 11.3% increase from 2,872,000 plus to 3,013,000. In 2016, the Greater Accra was 19.5% of Ghana's total voter population. In 2020, it is 20.7%. That is a fifth of the entire vote. In 2016, the gap the Greater Accra region had over Ashanti was 191,371. In 2020, the gap is 495,949. So what it means is, whoever wants to win this election, go to the Jubilee House, must win the Greater Accra region, especially for, when you do the analysis, especially for a party like the NDC. Yes, they have a very strong constituency in the Greater Accra region. And if you look at their numbers coming out of the Ashanti region, Eastern region, which are strongholds of the NPP, you would notice that usually the NDC would win the Northern Belt, Volta and OT, good chances there. But if they don't win Greater Accra, maybe not by a landslide, but with a sufficient enough margin, is going to be really, really difficult. Because mind you, the NPP is also making inroads up north in the Volta region and in other places. So whoever means to win this, I agree with Ben Efson, you have to take the Greater Accra region.
It's a tough battle, isn't it? All right, we will do myjoyonline.com in the absence of any other stories you want to highlight in the papers.
Oh, okay, so let me do this. Let me go to my favorite for now. So page 16 of the Ghanaian Times newspaper. CID ready to grill them over alleged forgery. The story to do with the disqualified candidates. So the CID of the Ghana Police Service has received official complaints from the EC to conduct probes into alleged forgery against the 5 disqualified presidential aspirants. Now, according to the EC, those whose matters border on fake voters registration and fake signatories on the nomination forms have been referred to the CID for further action. The 5 are Kofi Kranting, Maris Kofi Gane, both independent candidates, Akwesi Adai Odike of the UPP, Kwesi Busumuru of the People's Action Party, and then Nana Ejinim Boateng of the UFP. So this matter not going to bed anytime soon. But I've noticed something, Mama V. The mistakes in our newspapers, especially ones that you would consider in lofty senses, are becoming too high. I find it unfortunate because a lot of young people read these papers. And yesterday, unfortunately, the Ghanaian Times, you remember I was talking to you about illegally used wrongly. Today, how can you write, according to the EC, those whose matters borders? What kind of concord is that? And yes, I mean, Mr. Editor, do something about the situation.
Let's spend a bit of time on myjoyonline.com right now, shall we? Okay, here we go. NDC chairman of Ayawaso North Constituency suspended is related to the deputy chairman of the party, the GANs, the court, and then the discharge. Remember that story? Yeah, there's more. If you go down myjoyonline.com as we go through the page, you'd find alleged voter secessionist dies in police custody. Now, this is a very disturbing one. And I listened to the lawyer yesterday who said that the family had not even been informed. Because as you know, dead bodies belong to families. And according to our custom, they're supposed to inform the family, but that has not been done. We'll see how the police respond to that. But it's also worrying the fact that a suspect has died in custody. That's a big one. That shouldn't be happening. And we've seen that happen even in the case of the former Legon law lecturer who was killed in his home. A key suspect also died in police custody. So we'll wait for the police to respond to this. Charges against NDC Vice Chairman Alhaji Said Senari dropped. Chairman of Parliament's Defence Committee. And that's up there. If we go up again, I can finish that headline. Can we please just go up? Okay, so that's the story. Chairman of Parliament's Defence Committee dismisses Muntaka's concern of SARS igniting in Ghana. So we have a police team. We also have ours, which in some ways, some people say similar to that of SARS in Nigeria. Ours is the anti-armed robbery squad of the Ghana Police Service. And Muntaka Mubarak says that it could ignite violent protests, as in their operations in the country, like the one sparked by the SARS unit in Nigeria. He's asking the service to review the mode of operation of its anti-robbery unit to prevent it from degenerating into a Nigerian replica. But that's the chairman of the Committee of Defense in Parliament who disagrees with him. And Muntaka is saying this because of the manner in which they arrested, rounded up suspected armed robbers in his constituency recently. So this, if you click on that story, you can read the rest of it. There's a Dododio clash. Neil Ante van der Poy confirms 2 arrested. NDC says police being selective. Some Infanteman residents disagree on Ophelia Hayfoot contesting in the December polls. That was on the battleground on Joy FM yesterday. Very interesting thoughts. Some say it's like family and friends.
Ah, well. Mando Bukiti.
All right, there's plenty of stories still on myjoyonline.com. There's a woman who said, for instance, that if we have a sitting president of Ghana who unfortunately, God forbid, passes, would we say that his wife should contest on the ticket? But that depends on the party, right? But there are
constitutional provisions for that.
And
that is why when, His Excellency, the former president, may so rest in peace, Atta Mills passed immediately. The Constitution has provisions for that.
You're being correct and technical.
I'm
sharing street thoughts with you.
I'm just saying that this person, but on the street, likely you would pose.
No. But I appreciate that. That's good. But
But Parliament, it doesn't have that, and that's the whole trick.
Let's do the BBC before we rise. Ben?
Okay, so let's check out some news from the BBC. Can we quickly switch to the BBC?
That's it on the screen.
All right. Okay, right. So we have French church attacker came from Tunisia days ago. So the French situation still there. 3 people were stabbed to death in Nice in what France says is an Islamist terrorist attack. So quite a situation there. Yeah. Flags burnt and all of that. My future choices are going to be easy. Jose Mourinho there. His side actually lost to Royal Antwerp yesterday in the UEFA League. How a priest rose to become Seychelles president. And then going further, you can talk about Trump and Biden dual key swing state of Florida. Florida, so important. If you remember the 2000 elections, Al Gore versus Bush Jr. Now, New Zealand votes to legalize euthanasia. Euthanasia, by the way, is a mercy killing. And they are voting to actually make it legal. In most countries, it actually is illegal. Well, I guess that's all we can do for now. It's 7 o'clock. We have to make way for Ureku Ampof. I'm sure he'll be telling you a lot more about the stories I've started already in respect of
and
sports.
How Mourinho wanted to change the entire team.
Oh, gosh. But Mourinho's frustration can get so challenging.
Well, anyway. Stay for sports. You're watching the AM Show.
Hello, good morning and welcome to the AM Sports with me, Ivory Coast. Hope you had an incredible evening and having an even better morning. Well, as you did see in the promo right before the show, the GPL Primer comes off tonight at 10 p.m. as we continue to build up to the new Ghana Premier League season. Remember, it kicks off November 13th, but we're starting today with Heart of Oak, and then next week we do one on Kotoko, and then we do the big one from 2 weeks' time on the eve of the kickoff of the league. And since we are talking about Hearts tonight, we'll be starting from a Heart of Oak story where their Chief Executive Officer, Frederick Moore, has reviewed lessons learned from the cancelled football season, which would play a role in their performance this season. Speaking to Joy Sports, Moore said that they augmented the playing body and technical team based on the previous lessons learned.
In the cancelled football season, Hearts of Oak's quest to lift the Ghana Premier League title started on the wrong footing. Phobians opened their campaign with a 1-0 defeat to Brecum Chelsea. After 14 matches in the Ghana Premier League, the Phobians were languishing 9th on the league log. Management have beefed up the playing body, including that of the technical team, with the acquisition of a technical director. Chief Executive Officer of the club, Frederick Moore, tells Joy Sports the decision to augment these two essential departments of the team is based on the lessons learned from the previous season.
There was a lot of learning. One of the most important things that you do in life is you learn and you progress. Continuous progress is what brings sustained success. If you parachute success, it doesn't last. You come down. So we've learned a lot of things. We learned a lot about our players. We learned a lot about the technical team, the refereeing, the matches. We also learned a lot about the structure that we've got that supports the football. And there's a lot of work that we are doing behind the scenes to make us stronger.
Mr. Moore added that the structure of the club at the moment is to ensure that there's sustained success, reason why they've gone for more signings, including that of a technical director.
This, after it's been said a few times, it stopped being news. Look, we've beefed up the team. We are looking at how we can structure the technical team to be successful. And that's the most important thing. The players themselves are eager to go. I've been to the training ground a couple of times, a number of times, and I've seen the hunger in their eyes, the hunger in terms of what they do, how they respond to training. I have no doubt that the other clubs have also beefed up their teams and they're very strong competition. And that's what Ghana football needs. We want to be successful. We are the premier club and we want to be the premier of everything.
Hearts of Oak have not won a Premier League title since the 2008-2009 Premier League season. The Phobians will open their campaign this season against former league champions Aduana Stars, who won the league title in 2017.
Phobia it is. We'll be seeing whether there is some phobia magic ahead of this new season. But in their pursuit to end that trophy drought, Hearts of Oak have made quite a number of signings, and we'll be bringing you all the details, not today, but then tomorrow, because tomorrow is the Joy Transfer Deadline show, and that is specifically for the Ghana Premier League, which sees the transfer window close tomorrow midnight. And so you do want to keep an eye out for that show as well. But ahead of that program, GFA President Keto Kweku says that he cannot wait for the Saturday Deadline show.
I'm happy about this development. Again, it points to the creativity and the passion levels that you have at multimedia, and the fact that you always want to be one step ahead of the entire nation. Our Football Association will be very supportive of this. Our clubs are very busy. Naturally, the Ghanaian in quote loves to do late deals, especially in the football industry, and most of the clubs in the Premier League, in Division 1 and even in the Women Premier League are very active. I know of a few clubs who are going to make big announcements soon, and no, you're not coming from Dream Services, so don't worry. So let's be on the lookout, and I'll be listening and I'll be watching the multimedia platforms for the exclusives.
Well, that comes off on Saturday. That's the Joy Transfer Deadline show. That's the Ghana edition. It comes off Saturday evening as we build up all the way to the evening to see the last bit of the transfers in terms of the Ghana Premier League. But you did see Keto Kweku right here at the multimedia offices, and that's because he did pay a courtesy visit to the company yesterday, and he did urge for a bigger partnership between the Ghana Football Association and multimedia. Well, Saibudiako put together this report on the president's visit.
One of the primary goals of the Keto Kweku administration is to strengthen its relationship with media companies in the country. The GFA president has in the last few weeks paid a number of media organizations working visits. It was the turn of the Multimedia Group Limited on Thursday. The GFA president was accompanied by Executive Council members Nana Safo Ojo, Sami Enimado and Dr. Tony Obin, and other members of the association. Keto Kweku applauded Ghana's biggest private commercial media house for their unflinching support for Ghana football.
I've always made reference to the fact that multimedia is a no-joke platform. For which reason, when we say, or when multimedia says that tomorrow will be Monday, we should believe it will be Monday. That's the standards. Okay, so we are happy to be here. Honestly, our main mission is to say thank you for all the years of amazing support to Association Football. You have preached the gospel of football from day one, for which reason Ghana went to the Mundial in 2006, 2010 and 2014, for which reason we still consume association football in this country, and we can only be grateful for all the support. And in saying this, it's also important for us to also continue to seek your support. We know that it will take a while for people to really understand the way we navigate our ship. But we also know that when we are firm and we have our eyes fixed on the goal, with the support of the media, we will get to the promised land. So we thank you so much for all the support.
Chief Operating Officer of the Multimedia Group Limited, Kenansa, assured the GFA of the company's continuous support for the beautiful game.
We all know the role and where football sits in our hearts. I don't know what else sits beyond football, not even politics. No, politics doesn't come. When you touch football, you know, it's high up there beyond all of us. And it is what brings us all together. And we all know what happens when there is a game, everything else is on hold. And that is how positive and energetic that space is. And that is why we also say we want to go every mile to support football in Ghana. So our sports team, our sports product, the people we bring into that space are people that we always want to hold sports and football especially to a very high esteem.
Well, thank you for staying with us. Thanks to Rick Wampofo with sports. He will be back on Monday with a round of everything that will happen over the weekend. Right now, though, we have an important conversation. The spotlight is on Ivory Coast today on our show because of what's happening on Saturday. President Alassane Ouattara is vying for a controversial third term. His candidature has caused unrest in the country. The UN has expressed concern over ongoing violence that has in recent days left at least 7 people dead and more than 40 injured, according to the authorities. Opposition candidates are maintaining their policy of civil disobedience and reiterate their request for international mediation. The 2 main opposition candidates announced the boycott earlier in the month, and I'm talking about their election. There are so many things, Ben, surrounding this Ivorian election that's unsettling. That also puts fear in us. We know there are people, the reports say that they're going out of the main city centers to their villages. There are people who are also crossing, even though the borders have been shut. So we definitely must put the spotlight on Ivory Coast and talk about what's going to happen in this upcoming election. Well,
especially as they are in our sub-region. And I'm sure those videos from 2010 are still fresh in your memory, and how, you know, Laurent Gbagbo, so to speak, was dragged out and all of that. We don't want similar scenes. In fact, Laurent himself had wanted to, contest this time around, things not panning out as he had planned. But I think it's only glaringly obvious that the people of Ivory Coast want peace. And, that practically is why we see some of them now fleeing to Ghana, which is seen as that bastion of democracy, peaceful country. 80 of them crossing into the Western region. Of course, we'll be speaking to Justice Baidu shortly on that, but very worrying developments. And perhaps the most worrying piece in that puzzle, Alassane Ouattara deciding to go for a third term. You know, they have a 5-term system. So 2010 to 2015, I mean, he won by a landslide, about 84% of the vote. Why he wants to go again? In 2016, processes were initiated constitutionally to amend and make provisions for him. But interestingly, in March this year, he had indeed said he wouldn't go again. All of a sudden, U-turn after Prime Minister Koulibaly, who was supposed to be his successor, passes on. We just pray for peace in the Ivory Coast. We don't want any turmoil there.
Absolutely. Let's engage our guests, Mr. Emmanuel Bombande, Senior Mediation Officer at the UN. A very good morning to you, sir, if you can hear me. Thank you so much for your time.
Hello, good morning, and good morning to all your viewers.
Great. The issue of Ivory Coast and the polls on Saturday, bring it all together for us. I mean, we're here in Ghana. What happens in Ivory Coast certainly should concern us. because of the 2010 situation. Now we're told that there are people who are leaving the city centers and going back to their villages. What do you make of the polls on Saturday and the fears that people are expressing appropriate?
Well, thank you for inviting me to contribute and to share with you. What we should appreciate is that tomorrow, which is Saturday, the polls will open by this time in La Côte d'Ivoire, but the country will be as divided and probably, let's even say, they will be in a worse situation going into these 2020 elections than they were in the 2010 elections that led to the violence that you have been summarizing with the background on your screen. Let me quickly put it here that in the studio you have raised the issue about the third term effort of President Ouattara to present himself again as a candidate. What I want to quickly say is that though in 2016 he initiated processes for the constitutional amendments that you spoke about, number one, there was never a consensus within the political stakeholders of Côte d'Ivoire for those constitutional changes. And number two, the provisions that were made that then created the position of a vice president, that created a Senate. Their combined effect with the constitution that elected Alassane Ouattara, in other words, preceding even the 2015 elections, did not in any way suggest that he is legitimately positioned or has the legitimate right to contest a third-term presidency, except that his argument is, since it's a new constitution, in other words, an amended constitution, it therefore implies that I can have the right to stand again. But explicitly in even the constitutional amendments that were made, he will not be able to have the legal standing to justify a third term. But be it as it may, as you rightly put it, it is not possible to disconnect the events of 2010 with the events that have already started. In other words, even before the elections begin tomorrow morning, they are flawed. And you must add on to that the civil war of 2002 to 2007, which really made the country to be totally divided along the fault lines of the northern part of Côte d'Ivoire and the southern part. The northern part headquartered in Bouaké, and so you had a physical division of the country, and that physical division was then accentuated by exclusion at the ethnic level, exclusion sadly at religious level between Muslim, Islam, and Muslims to the north and Christians to the south. And all this I would summarize in saying Côte d'Ivoire has not totally healed or reconciled, though there was a reconciliation commission that was supposed to have worked diligently. Along the way, it was abandoned. And it's like there is a fresh wound, and that wound only on the surface looked as if it is healing, and you are now bringing to bear, on that wound, a new scratch that probably is going to deepen that old wound and make it to hurt more. And that is why you are absolutely right in saying that for us, the implications are huge. Keep in mind, we're talking about the third largest economy in West Africa, but you're also talking about the Côte d'Ivoire, in which you can have a good expression of the presence of the whole of West Africa in terms of how it is cosmopolitan, in terms of how in its history it has been a center of economic growth that then attracted literally everybody in Francophone West Africa to it. And now you have a situation that begins tomorrow, and it's very, very difficult to see how this will pan out.
Well, Mr.
Yes.
Bombande, this is Ben here. I just want to find out, in recent days, there have been some violent clashes in places very, very much like, very close to Abidjan, including Dabu, for example. What do you forecast in respect of, that? Should we, though it is not the right thing to expect, based on these, should we expect some eruptions tomorrow, especially on the back of that? Should we expect anything similar to what we saw in 2010, owing to the violent outbreaks recently?
It's very interesting to see and to observe what is happening, because as you rightly described the position of the opposition parties, their attitude is to go full out in a civil disobedience posture. What basically they are also trying to suggest to the international community is to promote non-violence, and that the non-violence and the disobedience would force Alassane Ouattara and his ruling party to rethink their position on this. But we can go back, as you have given some of the incidences of the violence, and to suggest that even if the position is one of civil disobedience, you never know how that violence then could erupt. Now, the situation is so tense that you can never predict the extent to which the violence cumulatively now begins to snowball and to roll over, precisely because of the conversation we are having that links to the previous incidences of violence, not just in 2020, but going back into the Civil War and into 10 elections. So violence is possible. To what extent it could be a large-scale eruption, it will be very difficult to tell. But one thing we can all put our finger on is that the division goes beyond the politics and mobilizes people alongside the supporters, basically of the RHDP, which is Alassane Ouattara's party, which basically is bringing people of one side of the country. In other words, it's so difficult to always repeat the division. You feel like you don't want to talk about it in that sense, but that's the reality. The people of the North, who are also in numbers more of the Islamic religion, versus what you see now as the Bete, who are those who rallied around former President Laurent Gbagbo, and the Boale, who are basically those rallying around Bédié. And to that extent, we see ourselves in a situation that is not going to augur well. If you were to allow me to add on to that, I would have framed it in a question. What is the point going to the polls tomorrow in La Côte d'Ivoire when the situation is such that violence is likely? Would it not be a wise decision for these elections to be delayed, postponed, and for the country to rally around through what you yourself discussed in the studio about dialogue and mediation, and to find a way forward before the elections are organized? And the reason I add this at the tail end is simple. Because once the elections are organized, you go into the zone of no return. People will now begin to talk about the legitimacy of the elections that would have been organized. And we're talking about the one for tomorrow. And so you are going to add on to the issues that we are discussing, the fact that an election has been organized. And yet there will be serious issues around the legitimacy of the elections tomorrow. And the reason I keep on coming back to those legal issues is simple. Imagine that our own institutional arrangements at the level of the African Union and ECOWAS are violated by a certain government, basically throwing out the sense of justice that must prevail. And what you then see happening is that the Constitutive Act of the African Union, the articles of the Constitutive Act try to look at the issues of promoting peace, security, and stability on the continent, promoting democratic principles and institutions, popular participation, and good governance. All these have been thrown out of the window. The opposition has gone to the African Court for Human Rights, and they have had a ruling that basically says, look, you cannot throw out the 40 candidates the way you did. The Constitutional Court, that is seen to be the highest body to legitimize elections, is so partisan that it no longer plays its role as a court. That happened after the 2010 elections. It's happening again. So what you have simply seen is a reversal of roles, so that those who were the victims in 2010 are now the perpetrators, and we have the perpetrators of 2010 are now the victims. And it is sad that even other bodies that are outside Africa, such as the European Union, are suggesting that they recognize the international justice pronouncements that have come out of the African Court. And yet an African member state is rejecting those decisions by our own courts. And that tells you the gravity of the situation we are in. And for our viewers, the response of the government of Cote d'Ivoire was, okay, then we will withdraw our status of recognizing the African Court for People and Human Rights. And so we have a situation in which it is the exertion of power on the ground, and who wields the power, who determines the way forward. But violence is such that you can never calculate your position based on the power you have. The power you have will be nothing compared to the power of the people should they decide to go in a way that will be very violent across the country and spill over now into neighboring countries. And we are one of them, and the rest of West Africa as well.
Yeah, Mr. Mombande, I hear you say that this exercise has no legal basis. Basically, it is flawed, even before, the people of Ivory Coast go to the polls tomorrow. The ECOWAS has sent a delegation this week to Ivory Coast. I wonder why either ECOWAS or the AU or other institutions are not reiterating the point that you make in terms of let's hold on to this exercise. Let's have some conversations, especially because of the tension and also the violence that is erupting already in the country. Why is nobody holding this position, and why is Ivory Coast continuing on this path?
Your framing of the issue resonates with me, and I totally share in your thinking. I have sought to advise, and the good thing about the role that some of us play, my role is to advise because I'm not in any decision-making capacity. And in that advice, I seek to prevail upon the type of thinking that suggests that, one, yes, dialogue, mediation is very, very important when we are confronted with this type of a situation that is almost a stalemate. But I also add that sometimes dialogue can validate illegality, create more frustration, bring about more stress, and therefore legitimize violence. Because we cannot say, let's talk and let's talk. And when we are talking, we are legitimizing what is illegal when the legality in itself does not assuage emotions. Because we are human beings, and people naturally, men and women, have emotions. There is a point and a line in which when there is no reasoning, people's emotions take over. Yeah. And that is the point of no return in the type of violence that can be cruel. And so I will absolutely agree with you in saying that, then what is the point in the investments of so many years? And I'm talking here beginning with ECOWAS. Go back to our experiences of December 1989, when we were confronted with Liberia, and how that informed an intervention that was very difficult, with Ghana playing a leading role, and that by 1999, we agreed on the first treaty, which is the ECOWAS Protocol on Peace and Security, to put it broadly, and then complemented in 2001 with the Protocol on Democracy and Good Governance. And then on the other side, at the continental level, I talked about the Constitutive Act in 2000, and some of the political efforts that we've tried to engage in. So try to calculate the enormous investments as a people in the region and on the continent. But keep in mind that when we're talking about these investments, look at the cost of the wars that were fought. And then what you then ask yourself is, what is the point having these arrangements and treaties and protocols when they are not respected and when they cannot be respected? So there is this sense in which we don't even respect our own statutes, our own rules and regulations. Now, you cannot have an election in which one side has determined the rules that govern the elections and will go ahead and organize the elections and win it, and completely do not care about how the other side feels. Not only is that already illegitimate, but it promotes violence. And so and I think you two in the studio, it's not as if there is a response to this, but we are rather saying it appears we've not even started. It appears that, and that for me is where there is so much regret, that when we thought we made so much progress, what you are seeing in 2020 is a reversal of that progress. And I know that your focus is on Côte d'Ivoire, but you know that there is Guinea that is equally in a bad situation. And so the whole question then is, what does all this mean in a West Africa region that truly has been recovering from the worst forms of civil war and now literally preparing to go back into these wars because of these political issues and disagreements?
I want to cross over and bring our colleague in who's been monitoring the situation on, some towns sharing border with Ivory Coast. Justice Beidou is our colleague who joins us also with that perspective. Justice, a very good morning, if you can hear me. You've been monitoring the situation with people crossing over into Ghana, even though we know that the borders have been shut. Bring us up to speed with what you've been monitoring.
Good morning, Mavi. For many of the communities along the Ghanaian Ivory Coast border, it's a situation of uncertainty, especially because people are aware that this very, very crucial election is happening this weekend. And on this border with Ivory Coast, there's a major refugee camp where more than 1,000 people that came into Ghana following the war of 2010 still live. And within the last few weeks, my information as I've been here is that there are many, many more people who are using unapproved routes, crossing over the river that divides Ghana and Ivory Coast to get into Ghana, because at the Ivory Coast side of the border, many of them are being turned back. I've been in the camp these last few days trying to find out from the people what they think and what they think would happen following the election that is expected to happen tomorrow. And this report that is going to be playing now is what I've been able to put together, Mamavi.
Let's watch.
Inside this church building made of raffia, hands are raised in prayer. Hallelujah. It's 2 days before presidential elections in Ivory Coast. 10 years ago, when a similar poll happened, more than 3,000 people were killed. Those here were part of the thousands who fled for their lives. They have been living in Ghana since then.
I just pray. 2 days now I didn't sleep because I fear for my family.
This is the Ampain refugee camp. More than 1,000 people live here. It's one of 3 that were built to receive Ivorian refugees during the country's war of 2010.
And for my country, if the election was not passed well, it means that I'll do maybe 10 years again.
Natasha Ba-Ibo is showing me photos people have sent her from home She claims these are pictures of those who were butchered on the streets of Abidjan for protesting President Alassane Ouattara's decision to run for a third term.
2 days now I didn't sleep because I fear for my family. They are free. They are free. And most of my friends, my sisters call me, they want to come. But they close the border. So they don't know where they can pass to come. Many of people, when they reach the border, they can't pass because they don't have money, or they just tell them to go back. They want to save their life and they tell them to go back. It's not easy.
Many of the children playing on this field today were born on this camp, hundreds of kilometers away from their motherland, where their parents fled from bloodshed 10 years ago. A lot of them do not even speak any French at all. The refugees who live on this camp are praying against the situation that will birth another generation like this one. Children cut away from their roots. And whether that happens or not depends on the result of this election.
Even for the people of Ghana, it's not good. It is not good. You know when it starts, but you don't know when it ends. So to me, if situation gets worse, Ghana will open the doors. What we are thinking on now, we want to know if the borders will be open. If the border is not open, then it will be difficult.
4 people are contesting for the presidency in Saturday's election. More than 15 people have already been killed in violent protests since August. With the stakes that high, many are concerned what the future of this country would be. Justice Paidu, Joy News, Ampain Refugee Camp.
Well, quite a situation there, and very interesting dynamics to grapple with. A pretty worrying scene when it comes to the Ivory Coast. But Mr. Bombande, wrapping up on the conversation, just 2 things I'd like to run by you. Now, we hear that some of these people, out of fear, owing to what is happening, have indeed crossed over to Ampain in the western region of Ghana. Now, our borders are supposed to be shut. How exactly that happened, we're not fully aware. But what does this signal, and what can be done to prevent, an overflow of people crossing over into our country?
Yeah, thank you so much. First of all, what we should be doing in Ghana is not to allow a dilemma to present itself to us in which we are forced to choose between A or B. And what a dilemma does is, whichever you choose, you still have a problem that you have not resolved. I think that we now need to begin thinking very fast and very quickly about how you deal with what is an emerging situation that is not good. Now, first of all, it's important for your viewers to appreciate that we are currently the chair of the Mediation and Security Council of ECOWAS, because we are the chair of the Authority of Heads of State, in which the President of Ghana is a chair of authority. Now, when you read the text of international humanitarian law and international human rights law, if you try to look at what all these things mean when you interpret them, we must, as an obligation, provide the right of entry to people whose lives are threatened by violence and are therefore fleeing their own country and looking for safety. You cannot say that because of the COVID rules in which borders are closed, we must keep the borders closed simply because we are trying to respect COVID-19 rules when a population is under threat of violence and, for that matter, looking for safety. It will contradict international human rights and humanitarian laws. So what that does is create a corridor that is legal so that refugees can be received and taken care of in the protection of their lives which will then resonate with African Constitutive Act articles and also ECOWAS protocols. So this will be at a humanitarian level. And you do this in partnership, and you people, thank you in the media, join you for the wonderful work, bringing into our homes the reality as it is. And whilst that humanitarian dimension is being dealt with, you can continue to pursue the political, hoping that the political resolution of this conflict will allow a situation in which the violence will not go back to the 2010 scenario, in which you can now have a new confidence that will receive less refugees because the political situation would have dealt with it, and that these refugees might be willing to go back in a shorter time than they did before.
Okay.
But when yes, so this will be, if I were to put it as a wrap-up of a broad summary.
Great. Mr. Bambande, the election is just tomorrow. We'll have plenty conversations in the coming hours. We appreciate your time and your analysis this morning. You're still watching the AM show. Stay with us. When we come back, what don't you know? What do you think you don't know? Well, we'll remind you of what you don't know. Stay with us.
Welcome back. This is the AM show. It's a Friday, and of course, a lot coming your way. But there's more when it comes to what you don't know. Mama P just spoke about that, and it's a new season that we're bringing on Joy Prime. You know, I took my time to look at some of what you've done in the past. Amazing stuff.
Thank you.
It starts tomorrow.
Yes, it's starting tomorrow. That's the new season of What Don't You Know.
Right.
As usual, it's featuring your favorite personalities in the country. We're asking them very witty and silly questions.
Very curious questions.
Yes, very curious questions.
I recall what Clemento Suarez, some of the answers he gave you.
Yes.
You know,
sometimes the answers you get, you wouldn't be expecting them. It just blows you away. You think you're trying to outwit them, but then they outwit you.
Interesting. So a new series coming up. What should people basically look forward to? Who are the kinds of personalities you're bringing on board, and what should people expect?
Okay, so this season we're bringing, the artist of the year, for instance. Kwame Eugene will be.
Kwame Eugene is going to be on.
Kwame Eugene is on this season. Wendy Shea is coming. Moesha Budong.
But wait. How come when you did Moesha, your hands were signaling like that?
I can't do Moesha without putting my hand. Moesha Budong.
You are on your own on this.
Yes, I am on my own.
You're on your own.
I am taking it. Please, I'm not objectifying, but this is Moesha Budong.
So Moesha is going to be on.
Moesha is going to be on. Kwame Eugene is on. We have the likes of Fameye, Sister Fia, Master Richard, Prince Bright of Bookback, Miss Bell, so many personalities.
You are bringing Miss Bell?
Yes, Miss Bell is coming.
After all the...
Oh, yeah.
You're bringing Miss Bell?
Yes, she's coming.
Who's ready?
Oh, Debbie.
Okay. Okay. That's interesting. But what kinds of questions do you usually pose? Initially I said that I was going to be a guinea pig for this.
Yes. I can ask you a couple of questions if you want.
Relax.
Just a couple of questions.
No, relax. Just give me one. One should do. One should do. So let our viewers know how the show is, especially those who may never have watched it before. Just throw one at me, but be kind, yeah?
Yes, I'll be kind. Don't worry. Mostly we go with things that are trending. We can do sports, we can do entertainment, we can do anything at all. Let me ask you one question. Right. Continue the lyrics of the song.
Hey.
Amayari fever.
Charlie. Can I say that on air?
Oh, you see. You are not
You are. No, I know that, but I thought what immediately followed. I felt what immediately followed that was another line.
It's because you are that, but you don't remember exactly what follows.
When you see a DB, would you know?
Yes. This is DB.
Dema.
Typical DB.
You have no idea. No idea. So it gets interesting then.
Yes, it gets exciting.
You play with songs, you play with sporting events, trending issues.
Everything that trends, everything that people talk about. We try to, things that we grew up with. on television, on radio.
So Chaskele could feature right there.
Yes.
Alasan could feature right there.
Bitinge, anything. If you're a dancer,
Alikoto.
Hey. You don't get about like that. Because the way you know that Alikoto.
I can't tell you those days said they're born or not.
Then
I was my area champion.
Really? Then we have to set a match.
Number of form. Then
we'll set a match, just you and me, contest ball.
Right.
I'll use Mott's distant contest. You use Cook.
I'll not reveal to you what I'm going to be doing so that I'll floor you.
Okay, no problem.
But as we wrap up, so tomorrow it's starting.
Yes, it's
what
starting
is the
tomorrow.
time?
It's at 5 p.m. And this time it's not 30 minutes any longer. It's 45 minutes. So we're going to have an extension. So it's going to be a longer, period of fun and excitement on TV. So yeah.
Right. And who are coming? I mean, tomorrow.
Tomorrow, okay, I'll just let you know because it's Sister Fia. We're starting off with a bang. Like we want to start off big. So it's Sister Fia, Famille, and Obian Ponsa. And trust me,
Obian Ponsa is going to be.
You're going to love that particular episode.
It's going to be lit.
It is exciting.
Right.
It is funny.
Is going to be there. She's going to drop it live on What Don't You Know. But right before you go, though, I've always known of What Do You Know?
Yes.
Why What Don't You Know?
Because it was created as a parody of What Do You Know? And when I started my character, I was impersonating, or should I say it was an impression of Dana Ferry Yeboah. So my name was Daniel Alfred Yeboah then.
Now it's starting to add.
Yes, so instead of, asking proper questions or questions that are, serious questions, we're asking the opposite. So it's the things that you think you do not know, but you think you know. It's very simple but complicated. Complicatedly simple.
Right.
Yes.
So look forward to it. It's tomorrow, 5 p.m. Sister Ifya is going to be there, Obian Ponsa and others, as we bring you a brand new season, brand spanking new season of What Don't You Know? Question is, what do you know, though? Right, so thank you very much. And we proceed from here. Now, Mamavi Osuabaje has been interacting with Diana Hamilton on, well, guess what? She's a gospel musician, but there's a fashion sense in there and a whole lot that she's been up to. That's up next on the AM show. You don't want to miss it. Some very interesting tidbits that you're going to be hearing. That is next. Do stay with us.
This is our first conversation since COVID-19 came, right?
I know.
So I wanted to ask how COVID has disrupted your 2020 calendar, the whole plan for 2020.
Funny, it's okay. So the whole 2020 started with my calendar fully booked up until 2021, early part of 2021. Booked as in I had events around the world to go to. And then, I did February.
Okay.
Experience with Diana Hamilton came nice.
Yes.
And then my next one after that was a Vuyela in the UK. At that time, in fact, that Saturday, I almost didn't go to that event because that's when it was in the heat of things. After that, we went into a total lockdown. And I thought it was going to last 2 weeks. Then the weeks went into months. And it's been almost 9 months.
Yeah.
But it's just turned directions for me because social media took off.
Yes.
Because everybody was home. So when I got the chance to interact more with my fans, I also had the chance to have a lot of live sessions. And so my fans got to have a one-on-one with me, especially the Instagram live really helped. Then I was also tilted into a direction I never thought I would go. Set up a studio in my house so I can record and do vocals. I was of the opinion that, my opinion was I have to be in the studio with the producer so we vibe and we create music. Well, COVID put us in a lockdown. So we had to do it separately. And so I set up a studio and that's how come I did Adom.
Oh.
That's how I recorded.
So you were by yourself?
I was I wasn't. I was with my husband.
But there wasn't any producer?
There wasn't any producer. We had, I was blessed enough to have done the programming with him.
Okay.
But when I needed to do my vocals, I had to do it at home.
Wow.
And then I did 3 other songs and one was a collaboration that will come, and then other songs all in my house.
You've done a collaboration, you in your house, the other party, somewhere else.
In another part of the world.
Okay. Okay.
And we did that, and then I had the time to interact with Adelaide, my sister, Ruth. The three of us were constantly on Zoom.
Okay.
And WhatsApp, video calls, trying to put together these dresses and create DH by DH.
We will spend a lot of time talking about
that,
your new designs. Yeah.
But yeah, that's what it is. And then I was able to create a lot of home videos. Don't Funyame and other ones that we did and put out on YouTube, did very well on those. But yeah.
So you were even on social media even before this happened, but you seem to have had quite a lot of time.
Yes.
So you're doing a lot of social media. How do you make time for it, really? Apart from the fact that, yeah, you may have time, but you also have a family.
I also have a family. You know, well, I never put on makeup at home. So whenever I put on a bit of makeup, not again, mommy, not another Facebook Live, are you? So they know the moment I'm dressed up, because they know we're on lockdown. So a little bit of makeup, they know I'm going to be sitting by the computer. But I kind of brought it all down to Sundays.
Okay.
So I was doing a lot of live on Sundays. So Monday through to Saturday, I was home with the kids. Listen, I haven't had as much time as I've had with the kids. Since they were born. I don't think I've stayed with them for 9 straight months.
Did you get tired doing it?
No, I didn't. The tiring part was the homeschooling. Lord God, bless teachers. Listen, the work, and you leave them to go do something. When you come back, they are playing on the computer. They are not doing their work. So I had to literally stay in the room with them. That was the difficult part, but no, I enjoyed every bit of it.
You didn't do frontline work?
I did, not physically there, but we did a lot of triaging.
Okay.
Over the phone. I did a lot of chronic disease management.
Okay.
Because in the COVID, they wouldn't come to the practice. But I'll call them, check their blood sugars. They'll do it themselves, get the figures. I'll let them do asthma pumps and just to do their blows and their peak flows. So we did that over the computer, over the phone, and I entered the values in. So I physically didn't go on the ward.
Okay.
But my husband did.
But for yourself, was it intentional? Was it planned?
No, because of the kids, I couldn't go. Because we don't have childcare. So I had to be at home with the kids the whole time. And so when my husband had a day off, that day off, I'll do a lot of triage and telephone consultations.
But how did you manage it? Because he was going and coming back.
It's so funny. We made him enter through the garage when he was... I think we were a little bit over the top, but at the peak of it, when it was that scary, we only entered the house through the garage. We left our shoes in the garage. You walked barefooted through the utility. You sanitized your hands. We had a whole alcohol wipe in the utility. He washed his hands. He didn't touch any of us. So he went upstairs and had a bath. And then he'll come. And it's so funny. It's become a ritual now. Now when he comes and he goes upstairs, the kids are waiting for the first one to have the first hug. Yeah, that's what's happened now. But yeah.
But things have eased up a bit, even in the UK, right?
A little bit. It got better, I must say. Because at the peak of it, when he went shopping, even now, when he comes back home with his shopping, we have to wash them. We have to wipe them down. So those that don't need to go in the fridge, we left them in the garage for days so that whatever came on it would stay and die. Things like that. We still do those, but now we don't have a bath after going to the shop.
Okay.
Things like
Are you guys still queuing to get groceries? Because we saw that on television.
Listen, there was something about T-roll. I still don't know what it was about. But yeah, no, it's not that bad now. I must say, it's not that bad.
Okay. So I take it that you have enough T-roll?
Oh yeah, T-roll.
Otherwise, we can give you some when you're going back. You can take some from Ghana.
We have enough. We have enough. Like, I really want to know what's that. People were saying they thought the disease was going to be airborne and that it was only through that they were going to fix their door. Listen, I still don't get the...
What, it wasn't for the purpose for which we used
I don't think so. Well, like, Listen, the kind of food we threw away because everybody was just binge buying. You know, we're just buying because we were scared that the lockdown. I had no idea. We bought bread that will stay longer, bread that you could put in the oven. Listen, it got crazy. It got crazy.
Well, fortunately, you made it to Ghana because we opened the borders.
Yes.
Were you hoping that we would do that so that you quickly come?
I must say I was scared. And I love being at home.
Because that's where you feel safe, really. That's the safest place to be.
Yes. That's the safest place to be. But I was looking forward to coming. I was looking forward to coming. Yeah.
So have you had any virtual performances?
Yes. I did the VGMA Heroes concert. I did that. That did very well, actually. I actually got a content out of that.
Oh, and congratulations. Once you mentioned VGMA, Artist of the Hello.
Oh, thank you.
Of the year.
Thank you. Yeah, so I did that. I did one for Prophet Brian Amwati.
Okay.
Who else did I do? I did one for Pensa. Because during the lockdown, I could only, and I don't play. So I'd have to sing without any playing.
Okay.
Send it, get someone to play over it. It was a lot of work. It was a lot of work. I need to learn how to play. Is
that something that you really, really want to do?
I've had a keyboard whilst I was pregnant with the twins. The twins are going to be turning 10.
Wow.
I still can't find a key on the keyboard. So ask me if it's something I really, really want to do.
No, maybe not. Maybe not. How about the guitar?
Oh no, if I can't do keyboard, forget everything else. Listen, I've got my hands, I can clap.
So where did Adum come from? Which place did it come from?
Oh, I'll tell you Adum. So, I went to visit my sister, Adelaide. We're very close. We're a family of 9.
Okay.
And everyone has a best friend. And Adelaide is my best friend.
Okay.
And so I know what she's going through. And she got pregnant. And she wanted a girl so bad. She had 2 boys. She wanted a girl. And then she got pregnant. She had miscarried a lot. Got pregnant and realized it was a girl. She was over the moon. Because before she got married, as a child, she had a girl child name.
Okay.
She knew what name she was going to name her child. It was a girl. So when she realized she had a girl, she was excited. At 20 weeks, her water broke. And the doctor said it wasn't going to work. And so they were going to give her medicine that would let her abort the baby because the baby was going to die. And she refused and prayed. And everybody thought she was crazy. And the child stayed on for 8 extra weeks. And when the baby decided to come, the doctor said, well, it's not going to work. Your baby comes even 28. It's going to be blind. It's going to be that. It's going to be this. Not going to be able to eat. It's going to be needing oxygen for the rest of her life. But she trusted God. And then baby came. And nothing. Baby just stayed in the incubator just to while away the time and gain the time. And so when she was in the hospital, I went to visit in America and I saw what she was going through. And then when she was christening the child, I went again. And so we were talking and she calls me auntie. Says, auntie, I look at Michelle and I say to myself, I don't look like what I've been through.
Aww.
And so that was the genesis of that song. She started singing the line to me. And just by saying, I don't look like what I've been through, you turned my pit into a well. I thought, girl, you got my next song. And then it kind of sat well with me because for some time now, I've just been handling the topic grace, looking at my life, how things went round for me to get where I am. The things I went through that I thought were going to be a test for me, where I thought this is a proper pit, and God then turns it around to be a well where I draw from. It just tied in well for me.
Yeah.
And so the word grace made more sense to me, hence the song.
Did you give Adelaide copyright or something?
What does she know about copyright?
But that's a piece of music again that a lot of us could connect to. Yeah.
Yes, but I've said everywhere that she's a co-writer to that song. She started it. We did it together, and I will never take that away from her.
Yeah, but why do you seem to bring like the right song at the right time? Like
Listen,
exactly what we need, and then it comes.
That's what the word of God is. The word of God is such that it comes alive in you at the time where you talk about it. And so when you ask God, what would you have me tell your people? He tells you the right word for the season. And I think that's where it is. I don't think I sat down to say, oh, we're in COVID, things are not going well. Let's just talk about grace. No. Funny enough, I was handling the topic grace the whole time. People who follow me realize that I was telling my life story. How the school I wanted to go, I didn't get. How the course I wanted to go, I didn't get that course. How the university I wanted to go, I didn't go, but I found myself in a nursing school. And in that nursing school, I met my best friend, I met my manager, I met my husband. I got the confidence to sing. I had the chance to hear the choir. Listen, and there was no way I would have been, even at Confanochi in Kumasi, the first year, I almost swapped and came to Kolibu.
Wow.
But I didn't. Listen, my transfer letter was in my hands. I was supposed to leave about 2 days later, and I met my lecturer, and he said, you don't need to go. You don't need to go. And listen, if I had gone, life would have been a totally new thing. And so I said to people that, yes, there was COVID, but ask yourself, what would have happened if it hadn't?
Yeah.
So this is God literally playing us like a table of chess, moving this away so that this can come there, this can come there, and in the end, it'll be a checkmate, and you win. That's what it is.
Hallelujah.
Yeah.
Was this within this period that the clothing idea came up?
So, the clothing idea has been there for years. So I had a Facebook page called Anna Hamilton Fashion.
Oh, you do?
For years, yes. I opened it, didn't quite get there.
Well, okay, so what were you thinking? What was the idea?
So, Mama V, I realized that as a child, I watched my grandmother change from a market woman, a farmer, to this posh looking woman on Sunday morning just because of what she wore. Like when you see her on Monday, Tuesday they never went to the farm, but Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, she had this ntuma around her, this little bag around the cloth they had tied with her money in, her hair tied in a homa, and on Sunday she let her hair down. She wore ntuma, put on her head scarf called Debo, and oh my goodness, wore her shoe. And from that time, I knew that any woman could be anything if you knew what to wear and where to wear what.
Yeah.
And so growing up, I loved fashion just by what I saw. And then I realized when I entered into the music ministry and people started knowing me, you see a seamstress and she goes, Mommy, Ontario Mapam, and before those styles to learn me. And so everyone around me was, Dinah, you need to do well. The sad thing was when you wore something and you see somebody wearing it, but not done the way you really wanted it to be.
Yeah.
And so this was the dream. But then how to get it together was quite difficult. And years passed. And my husband would go, oh, you need to do this. Then in the COVID, Adelaide called and said, Auntie, you need to do this with Ruth.
Okay.
We need to do this. Because it was knowing who was able to come through and kind of put our ideas, because I don't make them. I dream them. I have them visually, but I can't physically do them. And so the combination of myself, Adelaide, Ruth, and other people that we're subcontracting these outfits to just made it work. And Adelaide sat down, did all the underground work, marketing, influencers here and there, and we just sat and designed the dresses. And here we are.
So wait, Adelaide is in the US, you're in the UK. Where's Ruth?
here in Ghana.
How does it work?
Yeah, that's what technology can do. So we are constantly on WhatsApp, doing video calls, having Zoom meetings, talking to our lawyers, talking to fabric sources, bringing the clothes, making them, and sometimes the designer, Ruth will bring it, and she's waiting for a response, and it's taking forever because we're thinking, are we there? And you can't tell what to take out.
Yeah.
You can't tell what to take out. Like for instance, there's this maxi, I'll show you when we get there, it's on a dummy. I wore it and I realized we made it 3/4. And I couldn't put my finger on what was missing. Then it hit me, we need a maxi. Things like that. Sometimes it takes a while, but yeah. Technology helped us do this.
So do you also, as in the three of you, decide the names that you give to the clothes?
Yes. Yes, we decide the names we give to the clothes. I haven't decided what I'm giving to this, so somebody tell me as part of my next collection.
Okay, so this is one of the designs, but you release the design in batches or something like that, right?
Yes, we do. This. We've done the first collection.
Okay.
We're looking at a winter collection. This is your typical Christmas photo shoot dress.
Oh.
Families sit and do pictures for Christmas.
Yeah.
This is your typical Christmas photo shoot dress. This is your typical Christmas dress because of the red, the black, the gold.
Yeah.
And so we look at the season that is coming in and we design accordingly. And so this is a new baby coming in the next collection.
Okay.
So somebody help us with the name, let's go.
Oh, you're looking for a name for this one?
Yes.
Okay, what's on the table? What's at stake?
Let me talk to Adelaide first, but I wouldn't mind suggestions.
Okay, I know you brought quite a number of the clothes here, so we want to take a look, take us through it. But there's also a whole concept behind just making clothes.
Yes.
There's somewhere that you want to go with it.
Yes.
So whilst at it, maybe you can let us in on the bigger dream.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, okay, I get you.
Okay, so that's Dinah Hamilton taking us through. Right about now, let's do it. Yep. Okay. So you're saying that, so this is in batches or sequence or whatever.
Yes.
You've released the first one?
I've released the first set.
Okay.
So we had I think I have a bit of those here. We have the boss lady.
Okay.
We have a corporate lady.
The boss lady.
We have Nana. Nana comes in a 3 sets. So we've got Nana, Malia, all around the same style. It's actually our best seller so far.
Okay.
And we've got some new ones coming in. Some of them are outfits I have already worn.
Okay.
That did quite well. When I say did quite well, social media tells us which dress is actually a killer, which one isn't. I'll talk you through some of them. Some of them have been.
Do.
Okay, so where do we go?
So what you've released already? Because
what we've released already. Okay, so this is Adele.
Okay.
This is Adele.
This is Adele, as in Adelaide?
This is. Amavi, listen.
Listen. I didn't say anything.
So, Adelaide, Ruth named her daughter after Adelaide.
Okay.
And so we call her Adele.
Okay.
So this is our little baby.
Oh, okay.
You get what I mean?
Yes, ma'am.
This is our little baby. It's a beautiful Ankara dress, but a lot of beadwork, a lot of stones applied to the side. We've got this nice pleated little skirty over it.
Yeah.
Okay, so if you know me, sometimes you've got the right figure for it. There's a little pouch sticking somewhere that you just want to, cover it just a wee bit. This kind of camouflage is a bit fake.
Okay.
So this was one of the dreams for this dress, all right? We call this the blue haze.
Okay.
When it's hanging like this, you wouldn't know what we're talking about. But it's like one size fits a lot of people because inside it's a very stretchy Ankara, elasticated. So it fits a lot of people with this nice neck.
That's rich.
And we're very rich, very rich. And we call it the blue haze because we kind of hazed the Ankara with this little soft fabric. Okay. Very nice for your evening outfit. This is part of the first collection.
Okay.
Then there's our bestseller. This is Malia.
Okay.
Malia is part of the Nana collection.
Okay.
Nana, I wore Nana in the Adom video. It's a red one.
Yes.
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 And this little neck piece here is kind of one of our signature neck pieces that we make separately as well. Okay. That you can have an ordinary plain dress, even in the winter, not just Ghana. In the winter, you can wear a whole bodycon, black, green, whatever, and just throw this around the neck. Yeah. It brings the Africanness in you, like I say. Okay. And then it's got a lot of beadwork in here. Now we realized that people, not everybody wants a flare dress like I do.
Okay.
People who are great
hiding something, you mean?
You know what I mean? And so someone like Mama V, if she doesn't want to hide anything.
Not quite, because I'm also hiding something.
No, you're not. You've got the right figure for it. But it's like a straight fit up of the Nana collection. So this is beautiful. Comes in green. Beautiful dress.
So you haven't worn.
I haven't worn this.
Okay.
This Mama V, when I get in the right shape,
when would that
I'm going to rock this.
2021?
2021. When I'm doing experience or something and I'm under pressure and I lose my waistline and kind of cinch it in a bit, then I might rock this.
All right. We'll be looking forward to that.
Right, so
this is also in the old collection.
This is also in the old collection. This is called the Boss Lady. Like you see.
Yeah.
It brings us the bossiness in you. Okay, that's one. This is going to be coming out of the next collection.
Ooh.
Now this is a jumpsuit.
Okay.
But it's a two-piece jumpsuit. We don't want to give everything away, but this goes on. It's a full. This is like okay.
Oh, so this goes on.
This goes on the blue.
Oh.
So you could be wearing an ordinary jumpsuit. And this, somebody help me. What am I doing with my phone? If it's a jumpsuit, sometimes you wear a jumpsuit and you've got this little pouch hanging in front somewhere that some businesses you want to cover up, you know?
Yep.
But you still want to maintain your curves. So then this literally
perfect. Oh God.
Goes on the blue
we
jumpsuit.
Don't want to give everything out.
And then you can just tie them around like that. And then you can get all your curves come out. You'll see. When we wear them and take pictures with them, you'll see.
Okay.
But yeah.
So for those of us who are also working on getting something so we can also showcase, maybe when we get there, we can also,
But yeah, that's coming from the new collection.
Okay.
This is also coming from the new collection. You would love this.
This is so Diana.
This is beautiful. This is so Diana, isn't it? This is so Diana. When you're in Africa and you want to feel comfortable, you can wear this on its own.
Yeah.
If you're in Europe, you put a little polo neck in there, long sleeves. You don on your boots. There's an Africanness in you.
Do you think about everything that you're saying before the design comes up? Because
yes.
You have a perfect way of how people should even wear it.
Yes, I think knowing how to wear a dress makes you wear it well.
Yeah.
Okay, when you don't know what to do with this, you think we've just put a tree on a dress. Okay, you think we've just put a tree on a dress, but when you know how to rock this, when you don this with a red pair of heels, man, okay, that's okay, you're going to kill it. I think people have seen me wear this before.
Yes.
I put it on a pair of jeans and that just killed it. So watch out for these new ones that are coming in the next collection. I love this. I love this. There was nothing of this my idea, but I loved it when I saw the girls had done it. I was like, well done, girls, because you can drop this on a black dress. You can wear a black pants, black top, and just put this on it.
Yeah.
You're good to go, but it has to be black. Okay, guys? Has to be black. I can do white, actually.
No, but black
would bring it out, wouldn't it?
Yeah. Are you also a stylist? You know, can people contact you, like if they're confused, something like that?
Oh yeah, if you're confused, definitely. You can
charge for that too?
Oh no, I don't charge for that. when I become a professional in that, I might think of charging.
Yeah. All right. So this is out when?
give us
your new collection.
My new collection is coming out next month. What month are we? We're in October. So November we're coming out so that it's ready for Christmas.
Okay. How do you think Christmas is going to be like with all the COVID around?
Listen, Christmas has always been about family time. But for Ghana, listen, I don't think you're I went for an event over the weekend, and you're the odd one out if you have a face mask on. I was thinking, wow, we're in two different worlds. Because from UK to Ghana, I wore my mask throughout.
Yeah.
But God has been faithful. And I have to say this, that we do not have an explanation for that. The only explanation is that the prayer word. That's all I can say.
Yeah.
Because people thought it was going to be bad.
In Africa.
In Africa, there were predictions that we're going to be dying on the streets. But here we are.
Yeah.
So the people are not God.
Yeah.
They're not God.
Okay, so just the final two. I see two new beautiful dresses behind.
Yes. So this is what I was talking about. So I got in last night and I realized we had this up to here. And listen, you need to wear this dress to feel it. And when I wore it, I felt good. At the top, the looseness, it has a kimono effect.
Okay.
But kimonos are meant to be worn much longer. And I thought, guys, let's make this long. And so when I said it, they were like, okay, let's go for it. And when they put it on the dummy, I just knew that we're in for a killer for this dress. Okay.
You have a name for it? Oh,
I'll tell you about it. When I release my dresses, I'll give you that.
Okay, yes, ma'am. I'll wait for it.
Wait, you know we've got nice names, and all the names, they have attachments.
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll do that. This one is a very interesting one. Very interesting. What do you think? Do you think it's tell me what you think of the dress. What do you think? It's a full dress, a skirt and a top? If it's a skirt and a top, tell me where the skirt starts from. If it's a full dress, what? Tell me. Give me a guess.
I think it is not a dress. Okay, well, I think it's a dress.
Okay.
And I think maybe the skirt will start from the waist.
From here?
Yep.
Girls, what do you think? Is that where it starts from? No.
No?
Okay, so this skirt...
Is it a dress, first of all?
It's a skirt.
Oh!
Okay, but we've tucked the top in, and the skirts, this is joined to the skirt.
Oh.
Okay, and the shirt has been tucked in.
Oh, wow.
If you wear this with a pair of heels, and you see how the bit is tilted, unsho kakrabats, unsho bebre. Yeah, but we're trying.
Yeah.
We're trying.
But Diana, you've got a bigger dream. I mean, there are people who also have the passion to do what you're doing.
Yes.
And you want to reach out to such persons.
Yes.
Explain the whole project.
So there's the Diana Hamilton Foundation, and what we look at is helping smart but needy children. So that's the idea. And so we educate people who are in universities and struggling, or they have the right grades but can't go to universities. But when this idea of DH by DH came, I realized that another way we can help is just to train someone who needs the skill to move on. So that's one of the dreams, to give free training to people who need the training.
Okay.
We also give employment. At the moment, we have a lot of employers that we pay who make these clothes. So if you need a job, you have to be great. You have to be good at what you do. And now the people I have are good at what they do. So when you make them, there are people we outsource to.
Okay.
One of them is Priscilla. So we outsource some of the outfits to her. She makes them. And then Ruth and her girls also make these clothes as well. Those we pay them. So if you're out there and you're good, and you think you can be a DH by DH woman, by all means, let us know.
Oh, there's still room?
Oh, there's still room, yes.
Okay.
There's still room. And then also you need a training, because we're talking to the ladies that do these as their way of helping us to train those that need it. Okay, somebody might want to train. They can afford the training. You pay for it.
Okay.
But you cannot afford it. The circumstances surrounding it shows that you cannot afford it. By all means, come in, we'll see what we can do.
So this is the new business now, right?
This is
the clothing line.
Yes.
DH by DH.
DH by DH.
Okay.
But for me, ministry is always first. Listen, it's what puts a joy on my face. It's what brings joy to my heart. but this is something which is way overdue.
Yeah.
Way overdue.
It had to take what?
It had to take Adelaide. It had to take Ruth. It had to take my husband to push me to do this, but I'm glad I'm here.
Yeah. Well, I'm happy that you're doing this. And I think that, you know, with all the difficulties, particularly this year, for people to see that there's some sunshine.
Yes.
You're not giving up. You're actually opening
We're
up.
opening
and doing
up.
a lot more things.
And it, you know, this is faith. You look at the face of impossibilities and call it possibilities. Yeah. So we are putting these dresses out because the weddings are going to open up. And Christmas is coming and we're going to enjoy it like never before. To be alive alone, you know, you should be grateful to God for that.
Yeah. Okay, just the final thing that we do, because you've mentioned Christmas, and I want to get this for Christmas. I will take my family photo in this, I promise you. How do people get in touch with DH by DH?
Okay, so you need to follow us on our social media handles. Instagram is DH by DH official. Facebook is DH by DH. The website to buy these clothes from, dhbydh.com. Okay, there's a number on the website for Ghanaians who cannot pay by Visa card. You can pay by Momo.
Okay.
Okay, that works as well. So follow us.
Okay.
And when you wear the dresses, tag us in and rock it like the DH one will do. Yeah.
So if I'm a size 10 or a 12, I just say exactly that and I get it?
And then we have a size chart on the website. So we'll have a size 12 and tells you what size 12 is. Bust this, waist this, hip that. So you can measure yourself and then know that I'm within a 10, I'm a classical 10, I'm a classical 12, or I'm between 10 and 12, go for 12. No, whenever you think I'm between this and that, go for the next one up.
Yeah.
Because you're better off adjusting it than trying to open it up.
Yeah.
But
so what's the final advice for somebody who is maybe like a 10 here, a 12 there? What's the plan?
So a 10 here, a 12 there, we hardly do customize, but usually the most important thing, if it's a fitting dress,
yeah, man,
like that, then you need everything to work. But the beauty of the fitting dresses is they're usually shift dresses.
Okay.
So they stretch.
Okay. So that's your choice of fabric.
That's my choice, yes, of fabric for these ones.
Okay.
They have a little bit of a stretch. Usually the waistline, we try to put a bit of elastic at the back as well to give you room to play with. So these are the things we do. So we've not had a return.
Okay.
By the grace of God.
Amen. Somebody thinks, oh, I'm just like Diana. What's your size?
I'm a 12 UK.
Okay.
Okay, I'm a 12 UK, I'm an 8 US. So if you're a typical Diana, then Diana now, but by January, listen, God's gonna be 10. That's a dream.
January is like 3 months. How would you?
I know, Mama. No, you just need to put me under a little bit of stress. That's all I need.
Yeah.
And I'll lose it.
It's always such a fun hanging out with you.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.
This time we're doing clothing. Who knows what we could be doing next year?
Yeah. I think by the next time I come in, we'll have a lot of success stories to share.
Yeah.
I.e., the people that are working for us, the people that we're training, just to tell us their stories, what we've done, what God has done to them through us, we might see. Yeah.
We'll believe in God.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Happy Friday, guys. Good morning and welcome to the Showbiz segment right here on the AM show. Now, let's talk about Afrobeats. Kelvin Boy yesterday had his album listening for his Black Stars album, and there were performances from Efia, from Kwamina MP, Kofi Mole, and then here are highlights from yesterday. Boy performing at the album listening for Black Stars album. There were performances from Efia, from Kofi Mole, from Kwamina MP, from Joey B, and Manifest. But this is what Kelvin Boy had to say about the whole album, how he came up with the album, and why he chose that title, Black Star.
I want to understand it, man.
First of all, because I'm Ghanaian, and first foremost, I'm bringing out a first body of work from me that is Afrobeat. For the first time in Ghana, the artist that is bringing out an album, a project that is full Afrobeat. So I wanted a touch of Ghana there, and I wanted to put Ghana on the map. And if you hear Black Star, Ghana comes in mind. And then right now when you go to Google and you Google Black Star, you see football players and Kelvin Boy. You understand? So to put Ghana on the map, and then I believe blacks are stars. So the Afrobeat agenda, everything, I feel like the Black Star was the perfect title for it. You understand? So it's in your head already. Even our ancestors, our kids know Black Star. So I don't have to put it in your head again, or for you to be saying it. You know Black Star already. So when you hear, you hear. You understand?
Are you glad you chose that name?
I'm very glad, because I can see the power of the name now, how it's working, how everybody is like vibing with it now. Everybody is like accepting the name Black Star. Today I googled Black Star and I saw Ghana players and myself and nothing else.
Afrobeat, Black Star, Ghana, Africa, culture, tradition, all these things, what do they mean to you? Why is it such a big deal for you?
That's who we are, because that's who we are, and that's the thing that helps the Nigerians. If you watch their videos, they portray Africa, African print. If you listen to their song, their sound, even if the beat starts, you hear Africa before anything. You understand? So I think that is our true color, and that's who we are. So that's why I fight for that a lot.
Kelvin Boy talking about his Black Star album, and that's all we have for Showbiz for this morning. There's more Showbiz at midday with Becky. My name is Kadi.